Hey, I'm Fucci, and welcome to Tiny Kitchen Big Taste. We've got an extra special show for you today because we've got an extra special in-kitchen guest. Natalie Korzon is here, and we're making cookies.
Hooray!
I don't know if you've seen Natalie's stuff. She does some amazing cookies for all sorts of different holidays, and the cookies are so good you're going to start inventing holidays.
National Hug a Frog Day.
Hug a Sloth Day.
Hug a Porcupine Day.
Is that a thing?
I hope not.
Y'all ready?
Then bring it.
So what you're gonna need for the cookies is flour, sugar, eggs, butter, baking powder, salt, and vanilla. For the royal icing, you'll need powdered sugar, meringue powder, water, food coloring, and decorations.
You'll also need a spatula, cookie cutters, mixing bowls, hand mixer, whisk, rolling pin, silicone spatula, measuring spoons, measuring cups, pastry bags, toothpicks, and a baking sheet.
Now, I am a huge cookie fan. I love sugar cookies, I love butter cookies, and this is like the best of both of those all whipped into one. How'd you get into cookie baking?
I guess it really started when I first moved to California from Michigan. There was a bakery in the Palisades called the K Bakery. She said she wanted to do Royal Icing cookies, and so I just learned how to use the Royal Icing and collaborated with her and used my art background with her baking background, and we ended up making these really awesome Royal Icing cookies.
This is basically like edible artwork.
It is edible artwork, which is the best kind of anything. Edible anything is the best kind.
How do we make these things?
So first you're going to start with the dry ingredients. So let's start with the flour as the base, the baking powder, add the salt, and then just give it a little stir, and then just set it aside. We're going to move on to the wet ingredients plus the sugar. So you'll start with the butter, which you pull out of the refrigerator. So you're going to want to cut this up into about 1/2 inch cubes.
How does that look? Because that looks exact to me.
That is on point. You're going to need 1 egg and 1 egg yolk.
So we got to separate the egg yolk out.
You do. Start by starting on a hard surface.
It's full of brains right up there.
Then I tend to do it just in my fingers, and then you can separate it back and forth. And then you put the egg yolk in with the other yolk.
High five to that.
When you've prepped all your ingredients, you're just going to put it into the bowl. Start with the butter. Here you go.
Perfect.
Then add the sugar.
Okay.
And then start with beating that. Slowly turn it. I like to get the sugar and the butter pretty blended, and then you're going to start adding the eggs and the vanilla. So I think this might be good. So you want to always put the dry into the wet ingredients. You'll want to do a little bit at a time. So we're almost at the end of the ingredients. And then just continue turning the bowl and spinning it.
Okay.
So before it gets too warm, you want to get it into either saran wrap, parchment paper, or wax paper. Plop it on there. Perfect. Wrap it up. Sometimes I just do that a little bit. There we go. Pop it in the fridge.
Okay.
I'd put it in there for a couple hours. You want it to be pretty sturdy. You're gonna lightly dust your surface with flour.
Okay.
You can even put some on top too. And then you can start rolling it out. I always like to say about as thick as an iPhone. Or as thick as a phone with a case on. It's not an iPhone. You can start cutting it out.
Yes, I picked some shapes for us. Why? Because it looks like Michigan. You're from Michigan?
It does. I'm originally from Ann Arbor.
Yeah, shout out to all you Ann Arbors.
Area.
Ooh, Traverse City. There it is.
Michigan looks like a mitten.
You
should look at the map, and everyone does it. It's a thing. We'll just start cutting these out.
All right.
I'll give you a few shapes. I like to go right up to the edge just because if you tend to go smack dab in the middle, you lose surface area. You can either use the spatula to get it out, or I just like to wiggle it
A little shimmy, shimmy, shake. Now we're using a silicone baking mat here, so you don't need parchment paper, but if you don't have a baking mat, just go ahead and use parchment paper. That's what you usually use, right?
Yeah, it's easy. You can throw it away after.
So we're going to pop this in a 375-degree oven for about, what?
5 or 7 minutes, and then after that, I kind of look and check it just to see if, how gold it can get.
So we've taken our cookies out of the oven. It's thoroughly cool to the touch. We're on to the icing, the royal icing. How do we do this?
You'll start with the powdered sugar, and then you'll add your meringue powder.
Okay.
And then just give that a nice little stir. A little bit of water goes a long way. So I would add that in, give it a stir. You can add a little bit more. This is pretty good for the piping bag.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll leave about 2/3 of your batch in here because you don't need as much piping color as you do the filling color, because the filling color is the base of your cookie. So we will set this aside because we're going to add more water to it in a moment.
Do you want red or green?
I'll take red. I think that's red enough, green enough. From there, we will put it in the piping bags. So now that we have our piping bag set aside, we can get this to the right viscosity.
It's time to flood.
Right now, obviously, it's way too thick. We're looking for about maple syrup. I like it.
Awesome.
Set this aside, and then we can start outlining the cookies. Cut the tip of the piping bag, go right up to the edge, and just kind of go in one fluid motion.
And you're
squeezing the whole time. Get it on your spoon. I like to just drip it on there, and then you just fill to the edge. So we'll just do stripes. You know what, for the end of the foot, I'm gonna do it in a circle pattern. Then we'll add the red. We'll go in between each one. And this is where you have to usually move pretty quickly. One of the techniques is dragging down and dragging up. And then for the edge part, we could just do something like a flower. And there we go.
That's so cool.
Do you want to try one?
Yes, yes, I must. Oh, see, I'm already messing it up.
There you go. Fill it to the edge. And if you feel like it's too much, you can always just scoop just a little bit.
Scoop. There it is.
It's fun to just play around with this too, because you can end up with a really different look.
So why don't we finish the rest of these and we'll plate them up. So check out these cookies. I know you're gonna want the recipe for them. It's available on our website. You can also check us out at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now you've got social media as well, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're gonna put everything, Natalie, right down below. And until next time, I am Fucci.
I'm Natalie Korzon.
Reminding you that if we can make Merry Christmas cookies in a kitchen this tiny,
you can make them in yours.
Yeah, we'll see you next time on Tiny Kitchen.
Big taste. I can be your trash can, baby.
Baby. Sowing the seeds of love. The seeds of love. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night.